Hello, everyone. We're glad to be here and we're happy that you made it too. You know, we were talking a while back and we realized that it seems like everybody you meet these days wants to start a YouTube channel. You know, they all have something interesting or unique or important that they want to tell the world about.
Yes, well, so what's so unique about us that other people might find interesting?
Well, a lot of people think it's pretty cool when I tell them how long we've been married and how many kids we have.
Yes, okay. People, they don't seem as shocked when I say I have 7 kids as they are surprised when I tell them that they all have the same father.
Yeah, that can be a little unusual in this day and age, but obviously just being married for 44 years isn't all that unique by itself.
No, that's true. We've met a lot of couples who've been married even longer.
The thing is, the majority of couples that we know are either both churchgoers or both non-believers. So in those cases, if they have the usual married couple issues that come up sometimes, they'll normally be able to resolve them within their mutual belief framework. But apparently, we have what divorce lawyers would call
Irreconcilable differences.
Yeah. We're Bill Swan and Emma Black, and we are a couple with fundamental differences in compatibility and or values. Of course, we've also struggled with many of the other things that can wreck a marriage over the years, like money conflicts.
Disrespectful communication, like sarcasm.
And extended military separations.
Well, actually, I think the Navy just proved that I'd always put up with you because I knew I never wanted to be a single mother again.
I know. Missing each other didn't hurt us. There were other things in our lives, like losing a baby and having a son with birth defects.
And we suffered through postpartum depression before there was really any kind of support for that.
I know. Lots of family and lots of family stressors. Also, some brief, minor substance abuse.
I forgave you for that years ago.
So, there are a lot of things that marriage counselors will label problems. But we've done some searching, and you know, one of the things that we don't find listed on the internet?
Religious differences, how they can tear a couple apart, or not allow a couple who initially seem to have that, special something to really go any further. Once they discover that the guy or girl they're dating doesn't have the same fundamental beliefs that they do, nobody knows how many couples panic at that point and call it quits.
You know, I think if each partner is kind of casual about their belief or non-belief in God, and neither of them is a religious fundamentalist nor a militant atheist, it might be possible to just tiptoe around their personal beliefs for quite a while and it doesn't really become an issue.
Okay, well, until they have to decide on getting married in a church, or mom believes that the baby has to be baptized and dad thinks that he just can't participate in some nonsensical religious ritual. And eventually a family member could die and heaven becomes an issue. These are significant life events for any couple who's planning on staying together for a while.
Right. So, what hope is there for a couple who are diametrically opposed in their religious viewpoints? One a strong, active believer in the supreme being, and the other who just doesn't think that there's any good reason to believe in a God.
Well, ours is not a story of sunshine and perfect answers, but it could be a story of hope for others in the same or similar circumstances.
We do believe that a couple who married with certain expectations can survive the loss of that spiritual unity, or if one partner of an atheist couple suddenly gains a testimony of the existence of a supernatural being, or whatever, they can still stay together and with love and happiness.
Well, we also believe if a new couple in love suddenly discover that one has very different position on faith from the other, they don't have to break up. They can still work together with theist and atheist beliefs and quite possibly make a marriage work.
And to be clear, we're not suggesting that she's always the theist and he's always the atheist in every case. It could be the other way around, and the couple could be the same sex. There will be different issues for each individual family, but basically we hope it might be helpful for you to consider the multitude of things that we've already had to struggle through without any help, and hopefully offer some suggestions and ideas to help you work this out.
You know, their friends and family will have already warned them that marriage is hard enough without having this basic belief difference, and even encourage them not to continue their relationship. I mean, they'll tell them flat out that it'll never work.
Yeah. Well, most pastors won't even support a member of their congregation if they're intending to marry an atheist.
I know. But you know, if you put hundreds of different followers in a room, okay, I'll show you. Okay. All the thousands of different religions and different denominations, different cultural regions, that's going to be an interesting gathering.
Yeah.
Everyone trying to argue why their way, that the way they worship God is the best way or the only right way. And some might allow that a few churches can still make it to heaven with them. Others are positive that if you don't follow their doctrine exactly, you are bound for hellfire and damnation.
Okay, well, what's your point?
Well, you know how to unify this whole group of theists instantly?
Oh, yeah, you drop an atheist in the mix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you see, each of them feel like at least we have a God, and there might be a little holier than thou art attitude as well.
Yeah, that's an understatement. When it comes to God, they may all disagree on what he or she looks like or what he demands of his followers today, and they may feel that they have too many differences to even coexist. But they are all united against the atheist.
I know. And do you think that they're just afraid of her, or do they maybe feel sorry for her, or do they all just want to try to start converting her?
Well, there is that, but mostly I think that they were just taught to hate atheists. They'll call them a witch or a devil worshiper, an infidel or a heathen. You'll follow Satan! Many theists assume that we're amoral, assume we'll steal from you or hurt you intentionally because we have no God-given directions or ethics or even love for other people.
And that's so not true. Atheists simply don't believe in any God, and that's all that defines them. It's a self-diagnosis. Atheists are not united by any common dogma. They don't even all use the label atheist.
Yeah, you know, the cliche is that if you try to get atheists to work together on something, it's kind of like herding cats.
That's an interesting visual image. A lot of atheists are inspired to work with charitable organizations, and they donate their time and money to calls for disaster relief, and they put their lives on the line for us just as selflessly as believers do. They are as capable of loving sacrifices as any churchgoer, and they choose right from wrong just like everyone else. Many, many people of faith are living next door to or working with atheists and even hiring them to babysit their kids or clean their pool, and they don't even know it. Unlike prejudice against someone for the color of their skin or the way they dress, sharing your private beliefs about God is a personal choice. So it can really surprise some people when they discover that their coworker or their neighbor doesn't believe the same way as mainstream America.
They can be very distressed to discover that they trusted an atheist, or they asked for a favor from an atheist, or, oh my goodness, they shook their hand.
I know.
You know?
At least in the United States, it's not a crime. We have the freedom to choose how, where, or when, or who we want to worship. And our government doesn't dictate to Americans the true gospel, or establish the only church you're allowed to attend, or force us to go to church, or favor any chosen religion.
Well, let's hope that stays that way. Today, in 13 countries around the world, admitting that you're an atheist can lead to a death sentence. That's the ultimate intolerance. And we still have incidents of hate crimes against people who are different.
Thank goodness those tragedies are getting fewer as Americans are more secure in being themselves, and their communities are getting better about judging them by the content of their character and not the color of their skin or the gender of their partner. We cannot condone the destruction of a good-hearted person simply because they're being honest about not having a testimony of God.
You know, most of the atheists that I know are pretty easygoing about the whole not knowing thing, and they consider themselves to be agnostic atheists. They just can't believe in anything without some sort of proof. And many are open to changing their minds if there was sufficient tangible evidence. But no matter who they are, If a person doesn't believe in something, no one can force them to believe. They may be able to force compliance, but true belief is only in the mind of the individual. People just don't choose to believe something. They believe what they are convinced is true.
Okay, and I agree with you. Unfortunately, there are quite a few people who wear the symbols of my religion, attend services, even give money offerings, and they're not truly followers in their hearts and minds.
Mm-hmm.
They're going through the motions without a personal relationship with the Savior as they understand Him. Eventually, they could be caught stealing or cheating on their wife. Religious beliefs do not come from any book or temple or synagogue. You can't get faith from the pulpit. Devotion to a heavenly being comes from your own personal walk with your God.
And some couples get married young, like we did, and at the time both feel that they're in agreement on their religion, which in our case was Christianity,
Right.
like the vast majority of Americans. But then sometimes one of them finally has to admit, like I did after years of wearing a tie to church every Sunday, that they've never actually felt the Spirit or gotten an answer to their prayers. And it becomes impossible to keep pretending to the world and not being who you honestly think you are. Of course, it's terrifying to think that you might break up your marriage, but this is a thing you have to decide is what else can you do?
You mean fake it till you make it doesn't work?
No.
It was really painful and scary to have to admit that your beliefs were atheist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd read all the scriptures that warned a believer never to be unequally yoked, and you were sure I would take the kids and leave you.
Well, you earned more money than I did, so why didn't I end up on the sidewalk with my duffel bag?
That's what we want to talk about.
Mm.
We've been dealing with our different beliefs for over 20 years.
Yeah.
It is possible to make a strong, loving marriage work between an atheist and a theist.
Although we won't say it's easy, it is possible. And now we're not here to debate theology or get into details of demonstrations of faith. That's not the point. Whichever church a believer decides to join and dedicate themselves to, it's going to be their choice. We won't be nitpicking about whether it's proper to use the term atheist or agnostic either.
Okay. And one thing we are certainly never going to do is defend people who break the law or abuse their power or are trying to hurt their family, no matter whether they are God-fearing or non-believers.
And I want to make clear, if you're hoping for instructions on how to get your wife or girlfriend to give up Jesus because you're smarter than her Bible, you're not going to find that here. Trust me, if she's sure of her belief in a supreme being, you're not very likely to change her mind, and continually applying that kind of pressure can just drive a bigger wedge between you.
Oh, and if you think I have a magic formula to give your sweetheart faith in God, I don't. No one can threaten or cajole or beg anyone into a belief or an emotion. It has to come from within. But you can simply love them.
Mm. Well, I'm pretty sure you're still praying for my salvation every morning and every evening.
Oh, and what kind of a Christian wife would I be if I wasn't praying for you to come to your senses?
Whether love is a gift from God or a biochemical reaction, it makes our world, and especially your most precious relationships, the best that they can be, whether it's for eternity or only for the time that we're here on earth.
If we can share our family's struggles to mesh completely opposite beliefs, maybe we can help other couples to avoid some of the pain that we went through. Mm-hmm. There just isn't any formula out there for our kind of mixed marriage.
So, next time, we'll share our superhero origin story.
Our what?
I'll explain later. And we're going to tell everyone how we handled the life issues and marriage stressors that had a religious element. Maybe we can help other couples like us.
That would be awesome. You know, I'm still crazy about you.
And you're still my angel. So, in the meantime, make every day the best that it can be.